The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.
It's Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
Alrighty, Lionel with you, and this is strike that. This is Another Side. That's right, Another Side of Midnight. And I got news for you. Guess what we're going to be talking about for the next 3 hours? That's right, my friends. That's right, the pyramids. Just kidding. I want to talk about what happened tonight. And what I've been hearing and what I've been noticing and what I've been seeing. And how it depends upon where you're looking. And you know who my special guest is? You. You. Because your reactions, your thoughts, your comments, your suspicions, your is worth everything to me. I swear to you, I watched and I was just skipping around to see what was happening. I was doing something tonight and all of a sudden it broke through. And I thought, what's happening? And I went and I asked my wife, I said, I was doing a live event. And anyway, I said, tell me what's going on. And of course, they went to the regular cable news stuff and you found out nothing. A lot of B-roll, but nothing really good. Nothing good, nothing that you want to know. Nothing about something that you should really know. Like who is doing a good job, who is not, because this is our president. And this is the third time now that this has happened. And let's face it, I don't want to hear any more about any excuses. And I couldn't believe I saw Melissa McCarthy. I could have sworn the Secret Service agent, remember her? Looked like her. I thought, oh, dear God, not that again. So anyway, invariably, there's all these people. And of course, you see the same people saying the same things over and over and over. Just kind of pad the bill because there's nothing really they can say. A lot of B-roll, people leaving. But there's a lot of stuff that's really interesting. By the way, did you happen to see all of the folks grabbing all the booze and taking everything with them? Whenever they have these events, people think, can we take the floral arrangement? Can we take the centerpiece? They're taking liquor. Did you see this? It was the most incredible thing. Then, underneath the tables, selfies during what amounts to a potential assassination. Everybody's doing selfies under the table, which makes me wonder, what would Dallas, November 22nd, 1963 look like? Had we had phones then, would we be doing the selfies as well? Then, did you see how the first one off the dais was J.D. Vance? They came in and they swept him away. Then they got around to the president, and nobody, it appears, was standing in front or escorting or shielding the first lady. She had to slide under the table. Did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see Erica Kirk, who had to be pulled out? She was distraught, but the Secret Service agent, Caroline Leavitt's walking out like nothing. Everybody else is, acting, concerned. But she, of course, had to get the histrionics and, the background. And I was reading and following the various depictions on X tonight, formerly Twitter, and it is unbelievable. The deep dives, the slow motion. I'm telling you, you're going to have to ask yourself, what kind of depth do you want? Do you want nice, polite coverage, or do you want to go down and dirty? So I want to get down and dirty with you because you're smart. And if you saw this tonight, I want to find out what your thoughts are. Are these calls blocked per chance? I see a lot of lines through those numbers, And there we go. Now we've unplugged. This is called a line enema. We've purged that Bezor. 800-848-9222. I want to hear from you. Let me ask you a question. First, I'm not going to give this creep's name out. I don't know why. I've been saying this for, forever. If you are a complete loser, a zero, a nullity, and all you figure was, this is my chance to make it big. I'm going to go out with a bang. No pun intended. I want to have my name known, where I'm from. I want my social media screeds to be committed to memory. I want to find myself in the pantheon of the potential assassins. Why? Because we keep giving all the information. What's his name? Where is he from? How old is he? Where does he work? He was a teacher of the month at the school board. I don't want to know that. I'm not going to tell you. You don't need to know his name. It's important. He's a nullity. He's irrelevant. He's nothing. He's a slug. He's a cur. He's an ort, a chanking. He's a zero. And for the life of me, why people keep telling us the names and shares his picture and let's go to his neighbors. Quiet, kept to himself. Who was this man? John Wilkes Booth. Why? We do it out of habit. We do it out of reflex. And we don't understand that what we're doing is we're making the next person say, you know what? I've been a complete loser my whole life. I've been a nullity. I've been a zero. But you know, if I do this, maybe they'll mention me. Maybe they'll mention me. These are the questions I have for you. And let me ask you, how does a man carrying a shotgun, a handgun, and knives get past a security checkpoint at one of the most protected events in not only Washington, but the world? Do you not think, did the Secret Service not think, and by the way, I hope nobody takes offense at this, but I can say whatever the hell I want because I'm an American citizen. This is my president. And if you don't ask the question, I will. Did these folks not understand, hey, I've got an idea. What if somebody just tries to run past you? Did you see this setup? Did you see this? You mean to tell me you can't put up some kind of a barrier? What is going on here? When I ask questions, that's how bad it is. Are we looking at a true lone wolf? How do we know? Are we being asked to accept the simplest explanation? You see, because we don't want to go deeper. Who's behind this guy? Do you think he acted all by himself? They said some person said he had a room. He was waiting. He was secreting. He was waiting. He was pretty good at this. And the first thing I would do is I would take, all right, everybody in the Secret Service, you're all fired. I'm going to hire ninjas. I'm going to hire a Praetorian Guard. I'm going to do something. What is going on here? Do we not know how many times? What, 4? This is the Secret Service protection. And again, why was J.D. Vance among the first to be removed so fast? Did you see it? Watch it. And the president is sitting there. He's ordering his second course. He's like, what's going on here? And if a Secret Service agent can be shot at an event like this, what does it say about the vulnerabilities that the public never even sees? Were there warning signs that this guy perhaps sent? How much do you want to bet if you went back and looked? Somebody would say, listen, I'll bet you anything he called into a field office. They knew something. Do you have any confidence in the kind of current security protocols that protect national leadership? Why do these incidents keep happening despite increasing surveillance and intel and Palantir and drones? And is the real story here? You see, one of the problems we have is we don't want to get conspiracy theoried. That's what they tell you. Oh, no. Don't go too deep into this. Oh, wait a minute. I've got about 7 lines of suspects. You think this guy on his own said, yeah, I'm going to do this. We need people like us to ask the questions and not stand up and immediately want to say everything's great, everything's terrific. And I know you're supposed to say this. You're supposed to say that we thank the men and women who were there. Did you, boy, they came out of nowhere. Did you see the outfits with the goggles and the night vision and the guns? And a little late. But anyway, that's okay. What about in the front? I would hire somebody to say, listen, let's do a test. I'm going to hire some people to see if they can just get past you without checking. Did you see this guy run through? He's not exactly, Rosie Greer. I'm dating myself. This is just absurd. This is absurd. I don't get this. But you know what? I'm just a civilian. What do I know? And I'm supposed to sit and just watch this and say, and nod like Nipper, his master's voice. Yeah, well, you know what? I don't act like that. Listen, I want to hear from you. What do you think? Because I value your insight, your intuition. Now, let me tell you something. When you talk about skullduggery, when you want to talk about getting to understand the deep, dark, dank underbelly of this fetid, sordid, sick, feculent, sore-like, cloacal world, there's one person I go to every time without ado. His name is John from Hell's Kitchen. John, you're on Another Side of Midnight.
Good morning, Lionel.
What do you think, my friend? What's going on here?
Well, I think this guy obviously ran in the Milrose games at one time. That dude was booking, man. I mean, what do I think? Lionel, we're of a certain age. You just referenced Rayford Johnson. Nobody. I know what that means. You know what
I
that
said.
Means.
I said Rosie Greer,
Rosie
but yeah,
Greer,
Rayford
but
Johnson.
The other one was Rayford
Right.
Johnson,
who was holding on to RFK. Yes,
that's right. And Jimmy Breslin and Pete Hamill was standing right there.
Yeah.
In a hotel on a dais.
Yes.
Imagine how Bobby Kennedy Jr. felt tonight, sitting there. I mean, what do I think?
See, but we do. Let me just add something.
Yes, sir.
Whenever we do this, we immediately go into this auto. We just don't ask any questions. Like a lot of people are believing this ridiculous story of Tyler Robinson, this patsy. This is the most stupid story anybody's ever heard. And yet, if you watch cable news shows, they don't report, they repeat. There's no inquiry.
Exactly.
Where's Jack Anderson? Where's Dorothy Kilgallen? Where were the great investigative reporters, the people who say, hell, even Geraldo would dig. We're just, what is it, the drugs, the stuff they spray? We're so incurious. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, sir.
It's okay. I do it all the time.
Yeah, but you're by yourself. It's easy.
No, I'm in a studio here. I got people all around me. A studio apartment.
Right.
I mean, it's obvious. Listen, this is an inside job. This is paid for. This is
maybe
for. This is
maybe.
No,
we don't know. Could be.
Nah,
but listen, John. Come on. John, here's the thing.
Let me finish my thought, please.
Okay.
You just
go ahead.
Don't let me interrupt. So let me finish my thought.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry.
This is the second time that if this had gone through in front of the world, because most people knew at 9:00 to click in to hear what he was going to say.
Yep.
That this man's head would have been blown off on television with the whole world watching. So,
and by the way, this is the third time, because don't forget the guy who had his near the golf course who had the rifle.
But the world wasn't watching.
Yeah.
And this is more than the third time. How many times do we not know about? And
exactly.
there have been other attempts that they don't even talk about. And we could get into that, but I'd have to prove it, and I don't want to do that. It's too late. Anyway, this is I love this president like you love this president. And he got up there and he was dignified. And I tell you, talk about cool under pressure. And he spoke about people that are significant. This happens to people that are insignificant. This is a plan that Lionel, these journalists, most of them hate him, hate his guts, have undercut him, have gone after him, have gone after his wife, have gone after his kids. And this was something, a little cabal somewhere. They thought this will be cute. We'll all be there. We'll all be dressed. We'll all witness this, and we'll all finally. This is just my take. We'll all
John,
get
I appreciate your opinion. A great opinion, my friend. I must take the interruptus. Let me tell you a couple of things, though. He was terrific with that Caitlin Collins. He treated her with great respect.
Yes, he
By
did.
the way, go back and look at the picture of the first lady who was like abandoned. She has to slide underneath
she
the
had to
table.
go
It was disgusting.
under the table. Yeah.
John,
Yeah.
John, I thank you, my friend. Please call me again. Good friend, good friend. It is now time for me to say this is Lionel with you on Another Side of Midnight.
Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. This is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
This is Lionel with you on Another Side of Midnight. And we're going to be talking about what we saw tonight and how I am thoroughly disgusted. And I'm not here to be nice. And I'm not a journalist. I'm not going to give you this. I'm not going to read copy. I'm not interested in that. There's something wrong here. There's something wrong. How many times does this have to happen? And the worst part is, I swear to you, there's something in our anger module, whatever this part of our brain is, that we have lost, either because of the psychotropic medication, the stuff they spray, the plastics. We're just like, doop, 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 doop. And whatever people give us, whatever they tell us, well, that's it. And they pat us on the head and then they forget about it. And we never find out anything about anything. And I'm sorry, I got to tell you something. But every time I see Kash Patel stand there, I thought to myself, is this the best we can do? Are you kidding me? Is this best serving this president? Listen, it's time for us to stop being nice. And let me also say something. If you think that I think everything the president does is great, that I'm some sycophantic, boot-licking, lick-spittle, some toady, you're out of your mind. He's like anybody else. I reserve the right to object to things when it comes up. But this is my president. And by the way, I like him. And I know that may not be popular to say. Forget the president, the role. But him himself, I like him. And I know a little bit about him and other, I'm not going to go into detail, but he is somebody who is very interesting and very unique. And I happen to like him. And I don't care whether you like him or not. And by the way, I don't care if it's him or Biden or Obama or anybody for that matter. This is an Article 2. Remember, this is our commander-in-chief. This is the head. This is in our Constitution. This is our president. They're attacking our constitutional republic. I don't want to get corny, but it's time to get corny. Let's go back at the phones. Back at the phone, 800-848-9222. Max in Manhattan. Max, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Lionel, thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
There were two other instances where the Secret Service was not on their toes. And Medea Benjamin from Code Pink, she's one of these, this is a group that's supported by George Soros, and they're always protesting out in the street with pink hats on. And they happen to have found themselves or placed themselves next to a dinner table where Trump was eating in a restaurant and show some protest. We have to ask ourselves, how did the Secret Service overlook this? There was another time when a policeman off duty who happened to have his gun on him went up to Trump and to shake Trump's hand. Why wasn't the Secret Service on top of them?
Yeah.
On top of this guy. So
that's an excellent point.
This happened with Cheadle was covering this. If we remember during the Crook shooting, the person in charge of the Secret Service, her name was Cheadle. And obviously she was grilled and she was not on top of things. Or maybe she was on top of things depending on who her boss was. So this is a bit scary here. And
let me tell you what's going to happen. Let me tell you what's going to happen.
By the way, before we skip, it's good to have you back on air. I'm glad you're back on.
Thank you.
And I was hoping. I said, I hope he's not Giulianiized, and I hope
No,
he's
no, no,
still
no,
there.
no, 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 no. This was just a shift. I do admit I would have preferred a little bit more of a, shall we say, kind of a memo to the listening audience. But no, this is the new time, and I couldn't be happier. I love this. I love this time. But I got to
Okay.
tell you something. I appreciate more than anything else you, because give me just that plain old, and I say this with all due respect, common sense. What does it look right to you? That's what I'm saying. Max, you're a mensch. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely.
Mensch, I'm not
800
mensch. I don't believe it.
Thank you, my friend. 800-848-9222. Let's go to Commander in the Pacific.
Virgil.
You're on the other side, another side of midnight with Lionel.
Thank you, Lionel. How you doing? I'm great.
Good, sir.
As usual. Ever since I started listening, I was. They said August 26th, and that's my birthday. So I started listening.
Excellent, sir.
Very good listening. Number 10 every week by week, hour by hour. You think just like I do.
By the way, Commander, where are you in the Pacific? What does that mean? The Pacific. I'm reading my.
I'm on one of the outside of it.
I can't hear a word. We are unfortunately garbled. I'll tell you what, if you could, sir, why don't you call me back again on a different line? Now, let's see if we can get through, because I want to hear exactly what you have to say, but I certainly cannot through this meat grinder type. And I appreciate that. Please call back, sir. George on Long Island. You're on another side of midnight with Lionel.
Hi, Lionel. I don't know if I'll be correct, but they say it's a shotgun. I suspect it was a 410. The smaller shotguns, I think you go to the range. You may be familiar with them. You can cut them off. They carry a smaller bullet.
Yeah.
I don't know my ballistics anymore. I think that's what'll come out. So the news comes out a shotgun, and you say, how could it get a shotgun in? It was a rainy. I don't know if it was rainy. It was a colder night in I'm not excusing what should have been done. They weren't really doing their job. But you have to understand. This will happen. Well, it shouldn't happen, but things happen.
George, let me ask you a question. George,
Yeah.
did you hear that he had stayed there? Did I hear correctly? Or he checked in, or he was there? Was he in a closet or something? I heard this in passing. He lay in wait. He was really determined to do this.
I'm not making excuses for the Secret Service, Lionel, but the facts happen to all come out. I think it's a smaller shotgun, and there's a reason, and you were a prosecutor. They give the name. I know you don't want to give it out. I mean, as a prosecutor why they put the person's name out, stuff like this. So if anybody may know him, and it may lead to other people or anything else. That's all I want to say. I'm not saying you're wrong.
No. Listen, the thing is, I appreciate that, and I thank you for your call. Number one, the idea that if anybody knows who he is and that sort of thing, that's not what happens. If somebody were to say his name is this and that's it and move on, oh no. Because somebody at some cable news show is going to say, okay, let's stretch this out. Jerry, give me a piece. Do something on the mind of a killer. Let's get that guy we talked to. Call him up, the psychologist. What's his name? We have his number. Let's call him. Let's put some B-roll of Lee Harvey Oswald. Let's schmaltz this up because it's ratings. We got to compete with channel, whatever it is. That's what happens. It's not to give out. They're not acting in concert with law enforcement. They're not acting in concert to say, if anybody knows. And do you think somebody would say, by the way, if you have any information, call right now, the FBI at 800. No, they don't do that. They want to show this same picture, and you're going to see the picture of him face down on the carpet. But I'll tell you one thing. If you really want to see something, on X, they've superimposed a picture of him when he was Teacher of the Month in California. Now, that's interesting. This is California. Now, a couple of other items as well. Please watch the First Lady, how she had to slither. I thought they jumped on top of people. If I hear that, what's his name, Jerry Park or Jerry Hill or whatever his name, the fellow who jumped on top of Reagan, jumped on top of him, actually hurt him. He thought he broke a rib because he threw him in the back of the car. This is the most polite. They're walking around. Somebody's hearing gun. In fact, the president of the White House Correspondents Association, she, at 30 past the hour, by the way, said she started to respond. She was reacting, and Trump's looking around like, what's going on? I would have flown across this. I don't understand this. Don't they go through drills? And let me also ask you, if you're a Secret Service person and you have been, your life is nothing but thinking, how would I breach this area? You think somebody would say, you know what, Sarge, here's an idea. This may be crazy, but what if I just ran? What? What if I got a real big guy and he maybe even had I don't know, like a blocking shield and just ran past you? That's a good idea. Let's give it a shot. Hey, that's pretty good. Nobody thought of that. They had a couple of metal detectors, and do they expect politeness? I don't understand this. I would offer bounties for anybody to say, breach our system. Show me how you would do it. Let me see. How would you do this? And I'll tell you one thing, and I mean it. One of these days, you're going to see a lot of these correspondents saying, the hell if I'm going, forget it. If this is your idea, of security, let me tell you something. When J.D. Vance went to Islamabad, you talk about security. Oh, man. This is, serious. In fact, it was so good. And so, because they were a little bit more, what's the word? There's a little bit more. Years ago, I talked to a friend of mine. There was an old retired, well, he was an investigator, but he was Secret Service years ago. And I forget who he worked with, Ford or who knows. And he apparently went to the old Russia, the Soviet Union Russia. And Nixon or somebody was traveling. It was pre-91, obviously. And they went, and the American contingent went to Russia or the Soviet Union. And somebody told my friend, is this your first time here? Yeah, he says, wait till you see how they do it. So he shows up and he says, well, do you have everything? He goes, everything's taken care of. This is my terrible Boris and Natasha accent here. He says, what do you mean? He says, everything's taken care of. Well, do you have a list of, oh, yes, we have a list. Where are they? They're indisposed. They basically went out, locked everybody up, who even so much as broke wind in public for the past 10 years, locked them up. And then when Nixon or whoever left, they said, okay, you can come back out again. Now, that's a bit draconian. I realize that's not the way to do it. But we don't. Look at this crew. Look at Melissa McCarthy. Seriously. Look at Kash Patel and ask yourself, is this it? Is this? Are you kidding me? These are, these people are military. Call it what you want. They're quasi-military. And when you have, and I know he's the FBI versus CIA or the Secret Service, which used to be Treasury. I don't know if it is anymore. Anyway, these are paramilitary. This is not just a guy with a suit. This is a serious event. And I just don't think we have it yet. Let's go to Steve in New Jersey. Steve, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Hey, man. And like you, I'm an ARA, a recovering attorney, okay?
No, I'm still one. I'm not recovering from anything. I'm proud to be one, sir.
Okay. I have no comment. Let me make my point here.
Very good, sir.
This was at least the fourth attempt on Trump's lifetime, possibly the fifth. Right. I'll just go through it. Both in February of this year. The Mar-a-Lago one, maybe you forgot about this one. An armed man, Martin, was shot and killed by the Secret Service after breaching the perimeter of Mar-a-Lago. He was carrying a shotgun and a gun. Right. Now, Trump and Melania were not there. But still, who is he gunning for? Who is he going after? You tell me. All right, you're a smart guy. And here's arguably, that you accept that was the third. Here's arguably the fourth. Right? Again, at the February 2026 U.S. Capitol, a man from Georgia was arrested while sprinting towards the west side of the Capitol while armed with a shotgun just days before the State of the Union address. All right?
Yep.
So that one's a little shaky, but this is at least the fourth. So I want to ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. I watched a lot of coverage on Fox and on News Nation. The facts that you had, all right, I'm just curious about. Where did you see that J.D. Vance was ushered out first? I didn't see that.
It's on X. They have cameras right there.
Okay.
They came in. He's on the right. It was so fast it'll make your head spin. See, I go to X. I go to Twitter. It's the first thing I look at. I still call it Twitter, and it's always updated. And now listen. And what they also do is they also have these community notes. If there are some pictures which, very frankly, are just wrong. Did you see Erica Kirk ushered out by Secret Service? She's crying. Excuse me.
I didn't even see that.
See, of course not, because you're watching this. You're watching Romper Room. You're watching Miss June. I don't know what you're doing. What do you think this is about? Listen. They're not going to make any waves. They're going to give you remember, they repeat. They don't report, and they don't want to sit there and they don't want to, And let me tell you something. We're the same country who, let me say this, forgot about Nancy Guthrie. Just forgot about her. Oh yeah, that's right. They did. Oh well, la-di-da, la-di-da. Yeah. What do you think this? Let me just get okay. Lone Wolf, you buying this?
No, I'm not. I'm listening to you, and I'm saying, yeah, he's in a hotel where they know they're going to have this big event. They didn't carefully screen everybody. Something sounds fishy. I agree with you 100%, man. I'm on board with you.
This is the part I don't understand. Listen to this one. Remember this? It was September the 19th. And let me also explain this. I hate this partisanship business. I know I'm late to the game here. I don't care. I don't hate presidents. He's my president. Barack Obama. Franklin Pierce was my president, for God's sakes. But it was September the 19th, 2014. You were, I think, 3. And Barack Obama was in power. And there was a man named Omar J. Gonzalez. He jumped the fence at the White House, ran across the lawn, and actually made it deep inside the building, reaching the East Room before being stopped. That alone set off a major scandal at Secret Service. Reports later revealed something even more unsettling. Days earlier, Gonzalez had entered the White House while armed with a knife in a separate incident in the White House, involving a tour group, which you don't have anymore, and not uncomfortably close to the president's family. Agents only intervened after he was already inside. And as for Obama being directly confronted in a dramatic face-to-face, that didn't happen in the way people sometimes describe it. But the breach, they said one time he was in an elevator or something. Let me tell you what they do. And I want you to listen carefully and for try this time to stop watching this babyfied cable and listen to the real world. Every now and then they want to send a message to these people. Remember, if you know the LCN, the mob, the mafia, who are the people that kill you? When they send somebody out to whack you, it's your best friend. It's somebody you'll never suspect. And the best way to get somebody is the people you never suspect, specifically the people who are designed to protect you. That's the way it goes. So anyway, they have these people out there, and they believe every now and then they want people to be sent a message. And the message is, remember, we protect you. You might remember there was another incident, and I don't know when it was. George Bush was out biking, perhaps, maybe, and there was an event in D.C., and they cleared out, I think it was the Washington, or the area. He knew nothing about it. And again, they say it was one of these instances, and they want you to they want you to be aware of this. And what happens is, let me tell you this story. There is a joke, but it's not a joke. It's legitimate, but it's called a joke. And one day the president walks out, and he has ninjas around him. I mean, ninjas. You know, the black, the whole bit, throwing stars, crouched, those funky shoes. And he says, hello, you're probably wondering if these are ninjas. Yes, they are. I fired the Secret Service. They work for me. Caesar had the Praetorian Guard. May not have helped. These people are civil service, DEI. Look at the people standing behind him. Look, Kash Patel, Blanche, look at these other folks. A couple of weeks ago, they were just in private. Have you ever seen Putin's security detail? Have you ever seen Xi Jinping? Dear God. I saw there was a picture a friend of mine sent me of a Chinese marching band. They had French horns. They carried the French horns like weapons. The line was so tight. You couldn't believe it. It's a band. It's a freaking band. They take military seriously. We have to ask people. Remember a while back we had recruitment was down. We had to start dropping standards. Maybe they could be, have prior felony arrests, tattoos, bad credit. They couldn't even get, there was one year when we had the least amount of top secret clearances. We've gotten real soft. And I want people to look at, I want to see 6'4" killers with crew cuts, mirrored glasses, who look like psychopaths. And I want them to carry their weapons outside their coats. I want to scare the hell out of people. Seriously, the next time you see Putin, I'm telling you, look at his crew and look at ours. They don't have some DEI little Barbie, little Malibu Secret Service. This is ridiculous. This is not the time. I don't care about all of a sudden integrating sapphic or lesbian, pace setters. I want killers. I got to tell you one more thing. When right around the time when there were a lot of these protests at universities during Gaza, and they had all this Palestinian business, and it was pretty serious. I was walking around Upper West Side, right around Fordham Law, and I said to myself, who the hell are these people? And they were New York City cops. I said, no, where are they? It looked like central casting from like some cyborg. I said, they look like killers. I said, well, somebody said they keep them kind of in the back. Instead, I've got somebody walking around with these stupid lenses, big, long, these lashes with, I'm sorry to say this, 100 pounds overweight, huge steatopygian buttocks. They couldn't walk 10 feet without losing their breath, on their phone with artificial fake nails. I'm thinking, you're kidding me. This is NYPD? You think Kojak would put up with this? What has happened to us? So this is emblematic of where we are today. We have I'm going to say it, we have no balls. We have no guts. We've gotten soft, and it shows. And I've had it. And I've had it with you, Steve, because it's your fault. I blame you. I just had to say that. I just had to say that.
You have convinced me. I'm getting my news from the wrong sources. I will expand my horizons. Thank you.
You follow me, my friend. All right, Steve. Thank you, my brother. 800-848-9222. I'm dead serious about this. If you haven't figured this out, I learned this a long time ago. September the 11th, 2001 was my red pill day. I saw it. I thought, oh my God, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I can't believe. And if you really want to see something, if you want to see what's going on around the world, and you're going to cable news, there's no hope for you. I had a friend of mine one time who used to show me USA Today. I said, they give this to you free at a hotel. Anything you get free, you're the product. Let's go to Maria in Alabama. Maria, you're on another side of Midnight with Lionel.
Hi, Lionel.
Hello, Maria.
I was just thinking, King
That's a
Charles
start.
is due.
Yep.
Huh?
I said, you said you were thinking. I said, that's a start. That's a start. Go ahead. I'm kidding.
I know. And I was just thinking the whole time all this debate started, about how sorry the shape is of the Secret Service and everybody that's supposed to be doing the protection. King Charles is due here, tomorrow or Monday?
Point. And it's a great point.
I hope his security is a lot better than ours, because don't you know he and his wife are like thinking maybe we better turn around and go back home.
Absolutely.
I know the UK, their TV station, one of them, I can't remember which one. Anyway, the Daily Confidential, I think, for the royal family news, they have their crew here already, and they've been doing their little news show from here already every day. So I bet you they're nervous too. I mean, because they're not used to this crap over there as far as guns go. But yeah, don't you know that what would hit the fan if anything? If he got shot at, God forbid.
But see, we don't understand. Number one, we don't understand that. By the way, that's an excellent point. We don't understand mental illness. We don't understand that when we say mental illness, no, mental illness is somebody who's depressed. These people are you know what, crazy.
I know what.
They are beyond evil. And every time I see another person picking up some little girl in New York, slamming her head first, and we scratch our head and scratch our butt, and we don't do anything. By the way, here's something that'll make you happy. I can tell kind of where you're from. This will tickle your pink. Listen to this one. Now hang on now.
Alabama, that's right.
Don't get crazy now. Hang on a minute. Now this is one of my favorite stories, if I can find it. Hang on a minute. This was in May of 1991 in Washington, D.C., an African-American woman named Alice Frazier had the Queen visit her. Remember that? In her home in Southeast D.C. in a housing project. And she was a 65-year-old grandmother, younger than me, and she hugged the Queen, offered her food,
oh my God,
and violated every protocol about touching and this and that. And she said, "Excuse me, this woman is a guest in my house, and I'll hug anybody I want. Do I make myself clear?" And the Queen said, "She is quite correct." Can you imagine the Queen though? This big woman says, "Come here,
she
Queenie."
Really loved it though.
You said, "Give me some sugar." Give me some sugar. I mean, it was like so. And her protocol, they were about to jump on this old lady. She says, "No, no." And the Queen probably gave her a signal like, "No, no, no, don't do that. Don't." We've got to get see. Let me tell you something, Maria. We have got to get tough. We are so weak. Let me tell you something.
I agree so much with how we should look plumb scary.
Oh, yes.
I mean, we should.
We were the ones. We had patterns.
Even the citizens should be like, "Oh my God," when they walk by. Just
that's right.
Terrified to move the wrong way.
Maria, I thank you so much. Please call me again. Let me tell you something. What I want people to do is to understand something. Whenever they come into the country and they go through passports or whatever it is, customs or what have you, I wish somebody would say, "Welcome to the United States. And don't you even think of going near our president. Capiche? Don't even think about it." And we have pictures on the wall. You know who those people are? All those people were machine gunned. They didn't get the message. We mean business. This is a new United States, not the old one, not your father, not your grandfather. This is a new one. We are psychos. We're wonderful. We welcome you, but you don't want to see us. What was that, David Bannon? What was that? "You don't want to see me angry." Remember that, the Hulk? That's it. The United States. You don't want to see us angry. This is Lionel with you on Another Side of Midnight.
All night long, this is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. This is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
Bad to the bone. That's it. Excellent job, Mr. Lee. By the way, Bill Lee and Yuri, I'm not going to tell you his last name for reasons that, well, they're classified. Doing an excellent job stewarding the helm. Lionel with you on Another Side of Midnight. Follow me on Twitter, X at Lionel Media. Look at this. This is on X. Online speculation links female agent to Butler incident. A shooting outside a Washington Hilton disrupted the event, leading to a swift evacuation of President Trump, First Lady Melania, and J.D. Vance. One agent was shot, but protectees were unharmed, and a California suspect, blah, blah, blah. Photos of a woman agent near an SUV and in the ballroom sparked online comparisons to the short female agent who struggled to holster her weapon after shielding Trump in Butler. Kind of shielding on July the 13th, 2024, with posts like, "Please tell me this is not the same worthless agent from Butler." And what happens is, this is what people don't understand. And this, and I don't know, but it looks exactly like her. There are folks who will deep dive. Let me give you an example. What they have found regarding the Tyler Robinson case will blow your mind. Blow your mind. If we'd had this during OJ, and they sit there and they compare and they talk, and there's this citizen journalism, this citizen and civilian journalism, which is so good and so brutal and so funny. And all of these, when I hear somebody say, "I'm a journalist," shut up. I'm a White House correspondent. You're bought and sold. You're a hack. You're from another planet, another time. You're an anachronism. This is different. This is idea. Roger Ailes, the great Roger Ailes, one time was asked, do you think, and by the way, he had his problems in his personal life, but when he knew programming, they asked him, they said, do you think that journalists, whatever, should be licensed? He says, you only need a license to cut hair. You should see what people are going. Go through X, look, just put in White House correspondence and look at the photos, look at the videos. And they're very, very good. If there's a photo or video that's not up to par or a bit shady, they'll let you know. Let's go to Sid in Brooklyn. Sid, you're on the another side. I'll never get this right. Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Yeah, hi, Lionel. I'm interesting. I'm a little bit interested in the fact that you're on weekends instead of weekdays, but we do.
This interests you? This interests you? This is, your life is so bereft of substance that this instant.
Anyway.
But I love you, Sid. I love you because you're a nut.
My question for you is, Trump is an American citizen. He has all the legal rights under the Constitution. Why doesn't he have a gun? Why doesn't he carry
Oh, come on. No. I don't want that. No.
Why?
I don't want no. I want him to have, I don't know if any leader carries a gun. That's there. I think it's the message. How do I say this? People think it's easy. It's easy to hit a target when you're moving. He could be the most dangerous person in the world. You want a man who's almost 80 years old to have a gun in a crowded ballroom? I mean, does he have the training?
In a crowded ballroom. I said in general.
And by the way, one of the problems too, as you know, Sid, when you get older and you have your pants tailored, crowded ballroom takes on a whole new meaning. Sid, I love you. It's a great question. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. All right, we're going to continue with this, but I'm going to ask you a question. Keep going with this. Your insights are perfect because what I'm telling you is simply this. You know it and I know it. And we don't have to ask permission to say this. But this case stinks. It always does. And guess what? It's Lionel's 3-day rule. After 3 days, we stop talking about it because we're the United States of amnesia, as the great Gore Vidal said. 800-848-9222. Hour number 2 coming on Another Side of Midnight, and I want to hear from you.
It's Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
Alrighty, Lionel with you. This is hour number two of this. I'm sorry, my mind. I'm just going through the stories on X. This is hour number 2 of Another Side of Midnight. 800-848-9222. Stephen Miller covered his pregnant wife with his body. She's curled into him for protection. He great pictures. You didn't see that. This fellow, Nick Sortor, Sortor, I don't know him, shows us one picture of you should see these folks come in. They grabbed J.D. Vance and yanked his arse off that stage. And then when you see that it pans left, they grab the president afterwards. They move him on. The president stumbles a bit. Then the Secret Service or these military agents come out. The president kind of trips. And where's Melania? She went underneath the table. And it's just, you should see great pictures from Carrie Lake, Janine Pirro. There were shots that you could see, photographs underneath tables, selfies. It is a vantage point. Let me tell you what people have to understand. And this goes to all of these people who are trying to redefine and buy news and media companies. This goes to Barry Weiss and everybody else for that matter. What somebody can do in a rainstorm with a cell phone will blow your mind. People don't need packaged stuff with chyrons and lower thirds and crawls and all that other kind of jazz. We don't work that way. The same people who think, oh, no, you have to be in a movie theater. You have to be in a movie theater before. No, you don't. I don't know why people are missing the point. If you want to compete in a world today, you've got to be just as interesting as this. I'm telling you, I learn more about what's happening by people who they take a photo and they upload it and that's it. And it's Instagram or it's Snapchat or whatever it is. But what's happening, the question that you and I are saying is, how many times does this have to happen? Was there any foreign involvement? We're so afraid to even ask that. Any foreign involvement. What about internal? I hope you don't think, I hope you're not offended by me talking to you like you're a child, but sometimes I think I have to remind people of things. The bad guys are not delimited by side. It's not this Manichaean left and right. The good guys are here, the bad guys are here. That there are agencies, like for example, the CIA goes out as the CIA. It doesn't work like that. There can be people who are contracted to do something. They don't even know what they're working for. There are jackals. There are ex-military who can do all kinds of stuff for you. Did you ever read a diary of an economic hitman, John, not Peters. No, he used to be married to Barbara Streisand. You know what I'm talking about, John. Anyway, and I interviewed him before, and they talked about the jackals. These were folks that get things kind of sort of done. And if there's one thing that governments have been using for the long time is you get somebody who is not accounted for, somebody who's not accountable. You don't want to get somebody who has a driver's license that says Langley, Virginia. No. Look who the people they got during the Watergate break-ins. Look at these people, the Cubans, and they're all spooks, and they don't work. They're not with the CIA. See, but when you say things like that, you are told constantly, this is beyond your pay grade. You're just some lowly citizen. You can't think this. Come on. What's you with this cloak and dagger James Bond stuff? Do you remember when they took William Colby? Remember him, the ex-head of the CIA? They were furious with him giving away secrets. Furious. And this guy was a war hero. What he did in World War II was incredible. And he was a scholar, Princetonian, and he was an excellent canoeist, really good. And they said, oh, he drowned canoeing, went out on the worst day ever. The weather was horrible. He had soup that he apparently left on the stove. I said, I've got to go on the canoe now. They whacked him. They found his body, and nobody asked any questions. We never ask any questions. I mentioned the name Dorothy Kilgallen. They got her, sure as I'm sitting here, absolutely, for what she was about to reveal regarding JFK. And it was a different time then. You talk about Bobby Kennedy, Thane Eugene Caesar. He's at least mentioned it, but we don't follow up on it. Remember Jim Jordan? Jim Jordan was everywhere. Oh, Jim Jordan. Remember the feller who didn't wear a jacket? Where is he? Where are these people? They come and they go. Now we have Foghorn Leghorn, John Kennedy, and that amusement, that bucolic hayseed rusticator, corn pone charm is supposed to substitute for what? And the Democrats do it too with Mazie Hirono, who has the intellect of a soap dish. And these hearings where you just want to see somebody embarrassed, that's as far as it goes. People are told today, by the way, they told Zuckerberg, just go there, they'll abuse you, and you go home and you leave. It's no big deal. Nothing ever happens. Unless you're Roger Stone. That's a different story. Unless you're, oh God, what is his name? Anyway, it's just, what bothers me the most is that we're becoming acclimated to it. I want a really vibrant country where citizens say, hey, we're not buying this story. Keep going. And you know what we're finding out, believe it or not, through independent journalism and different platforms, citizens are saying, we're going to tell you what we think about this. Not you. Do you know what? Let me just tell you this. Do you know what turned the world around regarding JFK? What was it? What was the most inspiring moment? The Zapruder film? Was it the Warren Commission? No. It was a movie called JFK. That's what changed everything. And people went berserk. Same thing. You notice how they're playing with you regarding UFOs, UAPs? You're not going to find anything. Stop it. Stop it. Every day they just tease you with this. And nothing ever happened. And what happens is, it's like they want to build up your resistance. You're told, I guess you're told repeatedly, that this will substitute for some kind of review where you'll be told, well, this is as good as it gets. We'll talk about it for a while. Remember the Epstein files? Remember Pam Bondi? I've got it here. I've got these thousands of files. Nothing happened. Nothing. And we'll never get to the bottom of that. Never. Never. Remember when President Trump said, I'm going to open up all the JFK files. Go ahead and open them. You think they're in a file? You seriously, you think they're in a file? You think somebody said, okay, hey, Ruby, did you sign this document? Why? Well, it's for the file. Yeah, would you sign this document saying that you were basically part of a mob hit to kill the patsy? Yeah, sign this. It's for the file. You think there's anything in an Epstein file? What are you? And we say, remember the black book? What about the flight logs? Epstein was a gun runner. He was with Adnan Khashoggi. Remember, it's the biggest con in the world, and people believe this because you're told to. And then you have these little limited hangouts that come out, and they give you these little amuse-bouche, these little moments of I don't know what you want to say, like a kind of an hors d'oeuvre. This'll do. Here, this'll do. Hey, that's great. You are never, ever going to have anything revealed by this or any other government, because I got news for you. The people who really pull the strings aren't in the government. You know it. I know it. Hell, we all know it. 800-848-9222. I don't want to ruin your worldview, but if you want somebody to ruin your worldview, this guy's the worst. Eduardo in Tampa. I kid, of course. Eduardo, you're on another side of midnight with Lionel.
Hey, Lionel. Hey, it's good to hear your phones are working better than yesterday.
Oh,
good job.
Let me tell you something.
Good job on
but
that.
I thought I did pretty doggone good yesterday, my friend. Pretty doggone good.
Yeah, but you made it. Yeah, it's so great hearing you. Yeah, you
Let
made it.
me tell you something.
Hey,
you tell us. Wait. I want to see the hand.
yeah,
There's a bunch of people that would say, here's a phone. You do 3 hours. Good luck, partner. You do it. Watch what happens. They would melt. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, talk to me, sir.
Yeah, I got to say, I think we need to bring back the military service like Israel. I was at this K-pop. I was working at a nice side hustle here in Raymond James Stadium. These guys are doing their tour, and they had to take a break because they had to do South Korean military service. This is something that we need to bring back to the U.S. is doing military service for these young people. I think that would be very beneficial. What do you think?
If not military, at least something where you have to volunteer or something. Absolutely, positively.
Bingo. Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Now,
point.
military, I'm not really sure about. I don't know if that matters because military is not for everybody. I believe military should be elite. I don't think you should draw the short straw and you have to serve your country. I want it to be very highly competitive. I want to get the smartest people, and I want people in education, graduate levels, to not be laughed at when they say, "I want to go in. I want to serve my country. I want to be." I want see, but the problem is, that's great, but the people who control the military, see, that's not going to help me if we're using the military for the wrong purposes. I don't want another Vietnam. And you're going to see more Vietnams in your lifetime than you can imagine. So what good does a great military do if we're going to be sending them off to do stupid things like that? Eduardo, why don't you serve your country? By leaving it. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding you.
55, you think this will take me?
Listen, let me tell you something. I swear to you, if they put you and me in a uniform and a gun, and we say, hey, over here, we're the elite. We're SEAL Team 4. They'll say, you're the SEAL Team? Mm-hmm.
Right.
And guess what? We don't swim. We've got a special talent. Would you like us to show you it? I don't think you're going to enjoy this. See, they're going to look. See, I'm going to go into this thing called psychological torture. That's what I want to do. I want to have a little patch. I want to have like a skull with a hole in it. I know people that I want to enlist. Instead of interrogating them, I want them to bore the crap out of people. I know people, many of them in the business that we're in, who will bore you to death. They'll tell you anything so long as you stop talking to them. Think about that. That was a joke, Eduardo. You can laugh. It's okay. You've been away. You've been away from adults for so long. You just have no idea what's going on, and I don't blame you.
Yeah,
and I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to bring you back.
Lionel. Thank you very much.
Eduardo. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Not a clue. Eduardo, bless his heart. Not a clue. I think military service is terrific. I think it's wonderful. But the new military, the new military is going to involve things that don't even, put it this way, the weapons we're going to have, they don't want you to know about. Wait till we just wipe out an entire grid. Wait till we're able to take directed energy weapons, find a unique and very sensitive kind of a tectonic plate intersection, throw some Tesla waves at it, trigger an earthquake out in the Pacific, start a tsunami, wipe out an entire area of the world, and then charge them to help them rebuild their country back, make a fortune. It's very gangster, very OG. And I admit it. Our number is 800-848-9222. We're going to Charlie and Andrew and Liz and Robert. We have one line available, and it's got your name on it. 800-848-9222. This is Another Side of Midnight with me, Lionel.
It's Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. This is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
Listen, you listen to me, my friend. I'll get to the bottom of this. Mr. President, I'm offering my services. But I have a team of people I want to bring with me. No questions asked. No questions asked. And please don't look at prior records or visible scars. I'm looking through, for example, X which is Twitter, under the title Secret Service. And they have a variety of things. They have this moment. The Washington Times has a very good piece. Shots fired. You see the president and cabinet members who are escorted out of the main ballroom as he's talking to a woman, I cannot pronounce her name. She is the head of the White House correspondence. I'm also looking at the First Lady. And I know you can't see what I'm looking at, but as the shots are going off, she is basically left exposed. When all of a sudden somebody hears something, and I want you to see this. You're not going to be seeing this repeatedly, but you have to see what is happening in real time because everything is covered. I know you can't see this, of course. I figured this out because this is radio, but you have to see this for yourself. Then you've got to see also the footage of Erica Kirk being escorted in tears out of Erica Kirk. And you could say, well, her husband was shot. She wasn't there for that one either. Mr. President, I know you're not listening to me. Trust me when I tell you this, sir. You've got to be better about the people you hang around with. Believe me. You've got to be better with the people that you have on your staff, and you've got to be better about the people that you associate with. You should see this one great piece. By the way, I guess the head of D.C. is a D.C. police. He's standing between Muriel Bowser, the mayor of D.C., who has absolutely no interest at all in anything involving order and the like. She was the one who was involved in that Black Lives Matter crap. Remember that? In front of the Hay Adams. Right in front of Lafayette Park, there's the Hay Adams, which is a great hotel. And then there's that St. John's Church that was set afire. Anyway, Muriel Bowser, they bring her out. And there is I guess he's from I guess he's from either D.C. He's about 8 feet tall, standing between Janine Pirro. And that's the stuff I want to see. Brandon Straka, by the way, has a very good point. He says, it really bothers me every time I see the Trump is shot and the Secret Service rush out. They leave him exposed. The huddle has to be airtight. And he's correct. And they show pictures of these Secret Service agents standing there with guns, but with big gaping holes that don't really protect the president from anything. Then there's a picture of this woman who looks just like Secret Service Barbie. Another picture of J.D. Vance whisked away. And Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch says, I'm terribly concerned about the safety of the president. The Secret Service is a dysfunctional organization. He's been killed nearly twice. And as one caller said, about 4 times. And you just got to see this. You've got to spend time. Then look at this. There's Bobby Kennedy, rushed out by Secret Service agents after loud bangs were heard. This has got to be tough for him. All the selfies alone, Janine Pirro and others. Then you look at the shooter in full sprint. And you see one Secret Service agent who just jumps out of the way. You've got to see this for yourself. And here's the thing. Remember this. The people who are there to, quote, inform you. And I know this is an age thing. And I'm older than most of these people. I learned this a long time ago. But you don't know any better. You still look at newspapers and things, and it's not your fault. It's what you're acclimated to. You have this belief system. You really do, that the people who go out there are going to give you all the information you need. I don't need somebody just to explain what temperature it is. Sometimes I got to hear things like wind direction, the seasons, other inclement. I need to know why. And I need to go a little bit deeper. And that's why you need us on Another Side of Midnight. Let's go back to the phones, back to what I call fun. Let's go to Liz in Alaska. Liz, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Oh, hi, Lionel. Well, like last night and also Charlie Kirk's funeral, why are all of the heads of our government and cabinet and secretaries all in one room?
It's a great point.
I mean, it wouldn't take much to blow them all up.
I know there's a continuity of government statute. There's supposed to be, I know State of the Union, there are people who are not allowed to attend. I don't think the president really, how do I say this? There's something about the president sometimes which is wonderful. I think it's part of his charm. I think he believes too much in the goodness of mankind. I don't think he really understands what's happening here. I think he feels sometimes that he lives in a bulletproof world, not to use a bad pun. Yeah. And also, let me explain something to you. These people are not crazy. They don't hear voices. There are people who can convince themselves that for whatever it's worth, and I might also suggest, Liz, something like either MK Ultra, mind control. I know when I say that, people laugh. But there are people who, if you have not understood how we are able to program people through Manchurian candidate-like procedures, I know people are laughing. We've got, oh my God, so many of these people. Liz, I thank you so much, dear heart. 800-848-9222. Let's go to Andrew in Newark. You're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Hey, Lionel, how you doing today?
Good, sir.
All right. I wanted to talk about this thing tonight, but you mentioned one thing. You probably realize it too, but when you mentioned about the Chinese marching bands with the horns, marching tight, stuff like that, that's straight out of Sun Tzu. When you have a weak force, you appear very organized. When you have a strong force, you appear disorganized. I mean, our military, if not, I don't know if that was the point you were making, but is the best in the world, and we stay sharp. When the bombs start going off, people will know how to march well. That's not, you know what I'm saying? That's not really, a part of what makes
Can I say something to you? Would you do me a favor? Stop saying we're the best in the world. And the reason why is I want to say, what does that mean? Are we fully functional in terms of all of the instruments of war, missiles, ordnances? No. Are we ready to go? Are we really ready to go? No. We're not even able to feed people on certain ships. So do me a favor. Stop getting cliched with me. I know you don't mean this. We are great, and I love our military. But do you really think that they're the best in the world? Do you know how many people we need? When I hear somebody say boots on the ground, do we have a million military, a million forces? For example, if you want to invade a country, you need 1 million. You don't need 5,000. You need 1 million. Can we do that?
That's insane. War's fought in a very different way these days, and I mean we're sharp. And I don't necessarily agree with all the things that Trump did, but the way they've been done with Venezuela and this last thing, it's top notch. It's top notch, and I mean we have the most experience. And war, every war is fought a different way. No two wars are the same.
Andrew, if we can't kidnap Maduro, come on, that's not war. I mean, that was good. That was good. That was a hit. That was almost like a kidnapping. That's not war. I don't want to go in. I don't want to debate this with you.
What? Does war mean you're shooting from two sides? War is everything nowadays. Everything is an
no.
aspect
See,
of war.
no, war, no. If you listen, there are countries who are saying we will give you war. We have battle hard. We're ready to go. Do we have 1 million men ready to go? No. Now you're going to say, well, we don't need this. The next time I hear somebody say boots on the ground, what do you think that means? We learned during Vietnam that you can't live by air power, by air superiority. You've got to clean things up. Are we really ready to do
Vietnam was never a war intended to be won. That wasn't a war. That was keeping business.
You're always
going,
changing what I'm saying. You're not addressing what I'm saying. You're finding, I say something, you say, well, we don't want to win that one. Well, wars are different. Oh, we don't need that today. Well, Venezuela. Well, that's a kidnapping. No, it's not. You're just taking whatever I'm saying, and that's okay. You're entitled to do it. We do not we are not up to speed. No way.
Anyway? I wanted to talk about tonight because you said something I was interested in. Someone said lone wolf and you're not buying it. So you're saying that you feel that this is a conspiracy, this is an organized effort. What happened tonight?
No. What I'm saying is there is no basis for us to think anything. A lone wolf, we don't know anything about this. By the way, who's doing the interrogation? Who's looking into this? And let me ask you something. What if during the interrogation, this guy tells you something that some members of our government don't want out? What if somebody says, yeah, I'll tell you who I'm with, Canada. It's like, oh, no, we can't let that out. You figure, you do the math. Do you trust anybody?
Do I trust anybody? No.
Good.
I don't get that.
Andrew, don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. Thank you, my friends. 800-848-9222. I was supposed to say 30 past the hour 4 minutes ago. Robert in Rockland County. You're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Yeah. Dylan, how are you?
Good, sir.
You originally talked when I got on, to the radio, you mentioned about Trump. So, he says something that's pretty fair, that's pretty, fake news. Not all of it, but I would say a lot of it. And, they really get him these NBC, ABC, CNN. CNN is like Saturday Night Live. And they just are trying, and I listen very carefully to the two sides, and they're just trying to get him and make him look bad. That's it. That's what they do. The journalism is so different than what it used to be. I remember taking a journalism course. The professor said, most of the news is different. After the first day, they change it. And they create news if they don't have new news. And with Trump, they just hate him. And, that's the way it's on a bash. This guy, Jake Tapper, all these guys. I mean, it's so pathetic. And if you listen carefully, they really do try to make him look bad. The general public, a lot of them don't know that. They think that CNN and other, networks are real and fair. But anyway, I'll see what you say.
Well, what is their goal? What is their goal, do you think?
Just their goal is to make him look bad, to either never vote for a man like him ever again, or his son. They just don't like him. It's so ridiculous. I mean,
it's not. By the way, it's not. Yeah. This is not. Not that this means anything. This isn't the first time. It's not. It's not. How do I say this? It's not the first time. It's not the last time. But I appreciate your call. I really do. Thank you very much. Let me tell you something right now. This is something which is really interesting for me. I want to talk about. There is something which I think is fascinating. I did a little research before. If we need, right now we've got about 1.3 million personnel. This is across all branches. That number is built around the assumption that the country would not fight multiple large-scale wars simultaneously. Now, if the goal shifts to deterring or fighting, let's say, two major conflicts at once, which is often discussed in war games, especially in relation to, Europe and the Indo-Pacific. Most defense and military analysts argue that the force would need to be grown meaningfully. For example, we would need about 1.6 to 1.8. Let's make it 2 million. You would have to expand reserve and National Guard readiness, not just headcount. You would need a larger Navy fleet, maybe 350 ship range instead of the current smaller fleet, increase Air Force squadrons, more missile production, more logistic units, and keeping them here. If we're selling and constantly shipping all of our weapons outside, it doesn't help. But if let me put it this way, you better hope to God we never have to deal with anybody like Turkey, because we have these ideas that sometimes the other militaries aren't up to par because they have beards or funny hats and they march funny and they don't, you know what I mean? They don't kind of. I will never, ever forget when people were laughing at the name Houthis by virtue of the name. And I said, if ever there was a group of people you do not want to play with in terms of fierceness, it's the Houthis. And they have no idea who they are. They were talking about them, laughing at them. And if you think the Strait of Hormuz is good, the Bab el Mandeb, this is the Gate of Tears, this is the Red Sea and the Suez Canal, this is even easier to screw up. It's tinier. It's like the Widowmaker of channels. See, we don't know. Let me tell you one thing you'll never learn if ever you watch cable news: geography. There's no maps. If I said, let me show you what we're talking about. Do you know why the Strait of Hormuz is so important? You know this turn, the way you've got to twist and turn. Oil people know about it. They know exactly how this works. You've got to explain to people. You don't just say Strait of Hormuz, and they don't even bother with them. You don't even know where that is. They don't even know what that is. It's not just some gratuitous geographic place. It's critical. I love history. And I was listening to some lectures. Hitler, he decided to wait 5 months before Barbarossa, before Leningrad. And by the way, he didn't want Leningrad because that's not even what he wanted. He just wanted it because of the name. 5 months. It changed everything. Little things mean everything. Little weather, things like that. It's one of those things which is a whole nother story. Gentlemen, I need a new code, please. You see, that's the thing which is the most important. And I'm not trying to be, I don't want to be, how do I say this? I don't want to lecture. I don't want to sound like I'm shaking my finger like, why you? That's not what I'm talking about. But if you study anything, and if you think that in a little smattering, a little glyph, a little reference, a little soundbite, a little 1-minute package is going to explain, it's just not enough. You'll never really, it's like they don't want you to understand it. Let me give you another example. Let me bore you with this. As you know, we have a mayor, theoretically. He's a Mino. He's a mayor in name only. And I don't hate him or anything like that. But his name is Zoran Mamdani. He's almost like a sock puppet. He's a proxy for some other, I don't know, whatever his overlords, whoever writes the script, and he grins and whatever. But I don't hate him. It's nothing like that. Anyway, so when he first came along, I heard people say all the time, repeatedly, he's a communist, he's a socialist, he's a this. And I asked one time a group of people, just in passing, I said, do you know the difference? I just was curious between a socialist, a communist, a Marxist, a Leninist, a fascist, and they looked at me like, well, it's, and they didn't know. I said, how is it that you have been calling somebody a name and didn't know what it was? Because we don't have to know. We are an incurious people. I'm sorry to tell you. We are uneducated. We don't care about words. You can't use a big word. If you use a big word, people say those common folks aren't going to understand you. In 1968, you've seen The Best of Enemies. One of the greatest moments ever was William F. Buckley and Gore Vidal in debates at the convention. It was the biggest thing anybody had ever seen. Two intellectuals using sesquipedalian words that nobody had ever heard of, and they loved it. Firing Line was one of the biggest shows every week. We were smarter then. We were more educated, cultured. I don't know what it is. Something happened to us. we became disarticulated or something. I don't know what the word is. And it shows to our news. I've seen this before. I've seen this. You haven't lived until you've been a part of a local, like if you see a local, those local news shows, some poor guy will be sitting in a truck for 8 hours waiting to do a 1 minute, 1.5 minute stand up live in front of the post office because they're raising the price of a stamp. And he's waiting there all day for this one moment. I'm thinking, what is this? What is the purpose of this? Because that's the way news looks. Remember a while back, and then I'll get to your calls. Remember a while back, local news did this. We're on your side. We're your friends. Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 2. And they'd be, hey, there's the weather guy. And they're painting somebody's house. Hey, John. And they're yucking it up and making iced tea. And somebody's like wiping the sweat of his brow because they all pitched in to paint somebody's house. This stupid, I don't know, what is the message? The news guys painting a house? What does this mean? No, we're part of your family. Then one day, I don't know what it was. It might have been 4. I don't remember. All the weather people were walking down the street, coming off of these very expensive, like Brooklyn stoops from brownstones. I guess they all were neighbors, all walking to work. And they said, we're going to make sure that when you go to work tomorrow, you're going to know whether it rains or not. Really? How much did this commercial cost? That's right, because we want to make sure that you know the temperature. Okay. Thank you for that. Now, meanwhile, since then, I've got 30 apps. I've got weather out the kazoo. I don't even know what a kazoo is. And they're still talking about it's the weather, Doppler forecast. What are you talking about? What are you, Dave Garroway? What century are you living in? Yeah, weather's important. But the whole idea of weather on TV is to sell, used to be the PC Richards spot or to sell the whatever it was. Nothing wrong with that, but it was to sell something. It had nothing to do with the information. It was this hemorrhoid minute is brought to you by whatever it was. This health minute is brought to you by. And then we got the consumer affair guys brought to you by. And I understand capitalism, but this is your news? This is supposed to satiate your quest for knowledge? Come on. Let's go to Pamela in New Jersey. Pamela, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Good morning. I heard this week on the news 2 very famous retired news people put out the word to all the news people to make Trump feel as uncomfortable as possible at the correspondent get-together. Is this what they meant? Interesting.
Well, this was certainly, I don't think they meant this.
But
I don't think they meant. Well, do you remember? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Do you remember a while back when Maxine Waters, the wig, remember this? She was telling people, and if you're outside and you see somebody pumping gas, you just remember, who was it? Sarah Huckabee Sanders was at a restaurant and people came in and screamed at him. It takes and the point you're saying, it takes a very slight little nudge to create a cavalcade of violence where you say it's okay to do this. I never would say that about President Biden. Never. I would never so much as say I guess maybe you and I don't think you would either. We're from a different, world. Trump did something. And let me tell you something. Trump's speech should be like this. You are going to miss me. Because he should point, he says, by the way, you see the guy at the end of the dais here? The big guy with the beard and the eyeliner? His name is J.D. Vance. And he is as boring as watching chrome rust, okay? And Palantir owns him. Nobody owns me. Oh, I might have interest, but I'm my own man. And you're going to miss me. I gave you life. I gave this city excitement. I created TDS. I made you. You're going to miss me. There will never be another Trump again. And you may hate me. you may say, "Oh, thank God," but deep down inside, you will know boredom. Do you remember when Joe Biden was? And by the way, my wife, she's in Washington all the time, and we have some friends. She does, and one of them who's very well connected says, very seriously says, he was never here. Joe Biden was never here. He wasn't here. I said, you mean no? He wasn't here. The auto pen, Pamela, was that ever investigated? No. So anyway, it's a cacophony and a concatenation of problems. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Well, words count, and the violent rhetoric before the correspondence dinner sure didn't help any.
Absolutely, Pamela. You are so right. I thank you, dear heart. Thank you for calling 800-848-9222. Pamela opens up a line, as they say. Let's go to Johnny in New Jersey. You're on the other side. Another side of midnight. I'll never get this right. With Lionel. Johnny. All right. Let's go to David on Staten Island. David, you're on another side of midnight with Lionel. Hang on a minute. There we go.
In my mind,
David,
it says, when ignorance dominates, we lose. The past people don't want to know, and then some, and don't realize the technology in the military, etc., worldwide has been passed around over time. You could drop a cluster bombs out of an airplane, Second World War, a lot of survivors, a lot of damage and everything, but a nuke will literally, what happened to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, could happen to New York. Trump is 100% correct in what he's doing with Iran, because if Iran were to win, they could spread out even past the Vatican, right over to England, to the United States.
Let me ask you a question. David?
Yes.
Are you there? If Iran were to drop if Iran, or anybody for that matter, were to drop or send a nuclear bomb to the United States, what would happen to that country immediately thereafter?
Oh, that might cease to exist, but the damage has been done.
Trump no. Wait. Stop for a second. Take a depth. Just answer me a question. Do you think, and I know there are crazy people, do you think somebody would say it doesn't matter? We're going to incinerate ourselves into oblivion just to make a point. Do you think any country would do that? Any country?
I agree
China
with you
could do
100%. I know what you're saying. But the thing about it is, once the mouse gets past the mouse trap, then you're going to have problems. Plus, I'm going to give this to you.
Yes, sir.
That bomb is transferred to other countries around the United States, around the world. It'll affect our atmosphere and everything.
Well, put it this way. And by the way, I thank you for your call. Once a new thermonuclear weapon, by the way, the good news is the new thermonuclear weapons, there's no radioactive fallout. That's fission versus fusion. Remember, Annie Jacobson made it very, very clear. My biggest fear is not necessarily somebody deliberately sending us a bomb, but something being mistaken, or a launch sequence or something going nuts, or listen, it's difficult to say, that we could not have perhaps maybe some eschatological end of times weird country. But for the most part, most people know that if you do that, and by the way, if anybody does that to us, and we will know pretty much where it's coming from, for the most part, your incineration, your obliteration would be multifold compared to whatever you could do to us. And I think people, this is the old mad theory. But 800-848-9222, the question is, do you think the president is thoroughly protected? Do you think that he has the capabilities to protect him? And do you think that we as a society should demand a complete, just blow it up, as they say, the entertainment world, take the Secret Service and say from top to bottom where you're through. The top management, you just don't have it. You just simply don't have it. 800-848-9222. This is Lionel with you on Another Side of Midnight.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. This is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
All right, my friends, Lionel with you. 800-848-9222. This is Another Side of Midnight. I'm going to go back to your calls and your thoughts. You have been so spot on tonight. Let's go to Joe in California. Joe, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Hi, Mr. Lionel. Good morning. Yes, sir. You're talking about thank you, sir. You're talking about is president being thoroughly protected. My question to you is, and please hear me out, is our country thoroughly protected? I've been listening to talk radio ever since I was a young lad. Mm-hmm. Two stories shocked my world. That was December 1980 when John Lennon was assassinated. I was listening to WABC as a 14-year-old. And September 2001 in California, I was listening to KFI. But here's the third one. It was you yesterday, sir, when you brought up the subject about the 15 agricultural drones that were stolen from a facility in New Jersey. That sent freaking chills up my spine. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
I don't have the stories with me, but there were 15 drones. When we say drones, these are kind of UAVs, so to speak, that are able to precisely deliver large quantities of agriculture, fertilizer, like sprays that could be fitted with, who knows, poisons, nerve agents, who knows?
Exactly.
And they're missing.
Yeah. And that is, I'm sorry. Yeah, that is very scary, sir. That is, I'm sorry. Who the hell knows what the heck these drones are at?
Do you remember a while back? Do you remember, maybe, I don't know exactly, Joe, when it was, but it was the drones here in the New York area, right around the New Jersey area. Now these drones, right, exactly. Now these drones were seen at night, big ones, like the size of a Buick, they would say. Now, what people don't understand is whenever you hear drone at night, you should say, uh-oh, because for the most part, 90% of all the drones are there for photography purposes. They must be done daylight time. That's all it is.
Yes, sir.
When a drone is out at night, that means it either has a sensor system that is not dependent on light. For example, radiological substances, poisons, they have sensors that don't require daylight. So when I'm hearing this at night around airports, we have the Port Elizabeth Port here, where cargo could contain something. Let me also tell you something. There were, this has been around since I think the 50s. There was a small atom bomb called Davy Crockett, I believe. It's a thank you for your call, by the way. A Davy Crockett, it's a recoilless, small, low output nuclear bomb that can be carried in a backpack. We've had this since the 50s. We have more coming up. The final hour, sending chills up your spine on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
It's Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
All righty, Lionel with you. This is the final hour of this thing of ours. Reminding you, I hope you know by now, Saturdays and Sunday, always get me down. I think it was the Carpenters. It's Rainy Days and Mondays. This is Saturdays and Sundays, right here, 2 to 5 Eastern on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel right here. So make sure you mark your calendars accordingly. We've been talking tonight about obviously what's happened in this, what could have been tragic in D.C., and how the president has not been, let's face it, protected as much as he should. And I want to throw something also out there, which is fantastic. There are things the more you know, the more you fear. And there was something which is called EMPs. There's a growing chorus of voices warning about something that, well, you can't see, you can't touch, but yet you depend on every second of your life. And that, of course, is the Earth's magnetic shield. This is the invisible barrier that protects this planet from solar radiation. And it is under increasing stress. Now, scientists at agencies like NASA and NOAA have been tracking intensifying solar activity and powerful flares and the kind of space weather that has disrupted technology before it. Now, the most famous example, this is called the Carrington effect. This is what everybody knows about. Knocked out telegraph systems across continents. This was like the 19th century, but today the stakes are even higher. Imagine a modern version of that event. Power grids strained or offline, GPS unreliable, communications interrupted, financial systems slowed or frozen, ATMs, power, the ability to bank, to shop, to do anything. The backbone of daily life suddenly unstable if not stopped. Now, to be clear, there is no confirmed evidence that the Earth's magnetosphere is collapsing or that human biology is somehow directly damaged at cellular level by these damages. But what is real is our growing dependence on fragile, interconnected systems that are vulnerable to space weather in ways that most people never even think about. And here's the question that matters. If a major solar event hit tomorrow, are we ready? Preparation and resilience and awareness, it may not sound dramatic, but they are the difference between disruption and disaster. Explain that to people. And by the way, I remember when all of a sudden you would be out and just driving and you say, what are all these weird poles here? And it was 5G. Remember that? And they would have these poles with these fake tree limbs. And we'd ask, does this affect us? We have this device in our pocket that's always emitting radiation. By the way, I would never wear earbuds ever. Why people do this, I have no idea. We carry these phones near our genitals. And I know, Yuri, you're very concerned about that because Fry Genitalia, by the way, that was the name of my high school garage band, but Fry Genitals and frizzled, frayed, fractured spermatozoa, that's all we need. But the real risk isn't our bodies unraveling at the quantum level. It's the systems that we depend on. Let me just say this. If there is a powerful solar storm, not an enemy, not Russia or Iran just the sun, it could knock out power systems across everything. And I mean fry it, the backbone of our life. And I promise you, take this to the bank, write it on the wall. Nobody in Washington is even thinking about that. None. We are so crazy. We will jump on subjects that mean nothing. All of a sudden, people hate seed oil overnight. It's the worst thing anybody's ever had. Bobby Kennedy taught us this. One day, Bobby Kennedy, I swear to God, I think he must have called up Alex Jones and said, now listen, I'm going to drop these methylene blue things in my water, and somebody's going to take a picture of it. And it's going to go up and they're going to say, what's Bobby Kennedy doing? Because he's always kind of like this, kind of a shaman. He's this mystery. Like, what does he do? He works out in blue jeans. He's weird. He's like, what does he do? And what's all this stuff? He's beef tallow. And I'm still waiting for the vaccine movement. Anyway, overnight, people were taking methylene blue. Couldn't tell you why. They got the blue tongues and they said mitochondria. Why? I don't know. That they worry about. But solar frying? Oh no. Oh no. You don't want to be there for that. My friends, I'm here to scare you. But I'm not here to scare you just for I'm not like Vincent Price scary. I want us to do things and change things. Because remember, and I forgot to tell you, I want to throw in AI into this, but that's a whole other configuration as well. Alrighty, 800-848-9222. Let's go back to the phones, back to the fun. Let's go to Mike in Milwaukee. Mike, you're on you're on another side of midnight with Lionel.
Good morning. Yes, I'm calling regarding the event in D.C. there at the Hilton.
Yes, sir.
And
yes,
I
sir.
was wondering, has it been determined that he was after some individual, or was he?
No,
was he
not
after
yet.
The press, the fake press, or was he after?
We don't know.
Some other
do not
individual?
know. We do not know. He's who knows. One could only imagine a lot of things. I don't know. But my question to you is, let me just ask you. And keeping in mind that we don't know anything, Mike, so we're just, like somebody once said, a friend of mine was a neurologist. He said, in EEG, brain waves, he said, think of it as standing outside of a stadium and trying to guess the score based on the roar of the crowd. So we're stepping back and we're trying to guess. But if I said to you, lone wolf, is there such a thing as a lone wolf? Do you buy that anymore, Mike, knowing what you know, despite the fact that you're from Milwaukee? I kid, of course.
Yeah, I do believe in the lone wolf, and here's the reason why. Because you don't go to a gunfight with a knife. This guy shows up with a handgun and a couple knives and a shotgun in a heavily protected event like that. That's suicidal. He's not going to.
That has nothing to do.
15 feet.
That does not. Wait a minute. That does not negate or support the lone wolf thing. Not at all. It means nothing.
Well,
right now, for example,
if he was part of an organization, he would have brought some AK-47 with some heavy-duty magazines.
No.
And some explosive devices.
No. You're missing.
Damage.
No, Mike. By the way, Mike, let me thank you for your call and listen to me carefully. Let me tell you how it works. I can do a couple of things. I can come to you and I'll say, what would you like me to do? Do you need my help? Who are you? It doesn't matter who I am. You need my help. Do you want me to foment a revolution like in the Maidan, like Victoria Nuland? I'm going to do that in Ukraine. I can do that for you. That's big scale. Or I can do something even simpler. For example, let's say you're running for you're an office. I'm going to have an agent provocateur or a false flagger. I'm going to have some skinheads show up at an event, at your event, claiming to be on behalf of your opponent. Now, where do you get the skinheads? I'll take care of it. No problem. I've got standing by. What do you want? Skinheads? You want black radicals, gay radicals, trans radicals, Antifa? Name it. What do you want? I got them for you. I'll get them there. Tell me what you need. And they'll seem ragtag. In fact, you want them to look ragtag. Would you like a false flag? I'll have somebody do something under the name of your opponent. I'll name it. Now, let's assume that I just want to cause instability. Let me just pick. Would you like me to have your event upset by something? I'll get somebody there. I'll get them there. Somebody who's not exactly a little bit off, not crazy where they're hearing voices, but I'll get people for you. Remember when the FBI used to, in the old days, that's long ago, there was it the Lackawanna 6? I think they're called. And I think there's the Need a new code. Here we go. They met one time. I forget where it was. In some Holiday Inn, and the FBI met with them and kind of cajoled them, supported them, and the leader of this group met at a Holiday Inn Express, and they recorded this. And this was the FBI, and they said, the leader said, "We want artillery." There were so many. Who were the group, the people who wanted to kidnap the governor of whatever? There were groups of people left and right. Now you can call them. Yeah, we use the term sometimes MK Ultra. I think too generically, but I've got them. I'll get them for you. What would you like to do? Would you like some event? Do you think, in many respects, listen to what I'm saying? Do you think January 6th was staged differently? What I'm saying, do you think a lot of the problems that occurred on January 6th, there were the feds in the crowd and everything. Come on, we know that story. They were waiting for you. They were waiting for this event. January 6th was so important for it to go off without a hitch. So what I'm saying is, did that look like a lone wolf to you? No, but I'll get a lone wolf. You're not going to have France or Israel or Germany stamp some kind of organization on this. No, you're not going to have people show up wearing uniforms and high precision weapons. No. That's not going to happen. You want somebody who looks a little ragtag. Remember the Pinkertons used to use it when they were trying to bust unions. Anyway, let's go to Stu in Brooklyn. Stu, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Lionel, you committed a Freudian slip by mentioning EMP. What that really means isn't electromagnetic pulse. It means early warning program like you. The thing in Washington smells set up.
Why is that, Stu?
Because how did this guy get even within 10 blocks of the venue without someone knowing that there's something wrong here? He had to get inside the door there. He had to have some kind of ID and credential.
Well, some people are saying that he either bought stayed there, got a room, or what have you. There's something else which is important, Stu, that I want you to realize, even though your name is Stu. There is a belief that he has a sister. I don't want to mention her name, but her name is, again, on X, and this needs to be vetted. And people are asking, I want to ask the sister, what did you know about this? She might live in D.C. Did he stay with you? Did he contact you? Are you aware of this? As they vet and look through his, and by the way, Stu, thank you. They look through his social media, his Facebook or this or that, and they're going to learn a lot about him. And as in the case of Tyler Robinson, maybe they can even plant a few, but they're going to be finding out about him. And if they perform their due diligence, they're going to find out who was behind him, who supported him. So I believe whether it's a setup or not, all I know is the case stinks. And I know what it means to stink. Because this is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
It's Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. This is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
This is Lionel with you on Another Side of Midnight. Let me refer to you to zerohedge.com, one of my favorites. A caller mentioned this before, and this is a piece written by Tyler Durden. What has become extraordinarily clear is that nearly every data center, every stadium, government building, power plant, substation, and other critical infrastructure, shares one major vulnerability: the lack of a low-cost early warning detection layer against one-way attack drones. Additionally, counter unmanned aircraft systems, or CUAS. This architecture should include a kinetic countermeasure layer designed to defeat threats before impact. Without this layered approach, most critical infrastructure remains highly vulnerable to cheap kamikaze drones. Now, listen to this. When reports emerge, such as the recent case in New Jersey where 15 crop spraying drones were reportedly stolen in what investigators described as a sophisticated coordinated theft, it only reinforces the alarming security concern. These drones, with meaningful payload capacity, can be easily repurposed into weaponized platforms. I don't hear anybody talking about that. You know what can be done? Who steals these? This is not some childhood prank. This is something far more serious. Let's go to Jerry in Pennsylvania. Jerry, you're on another side of Midnight with Lionel.
Yeah, hi, Lionel. Just want to say something first before I say this, although it's not that controversial, but I like to protect myself, and I guess to the station a little bit too. Anything I say is not factual. You can check it up if you want to see how factual it is. It's just my opinion, and it's for entertainment purposes. Now, with that stuff out of the way, yeah, I know. With that stuff out of the way, here's what I would like to say. My opinion. I think that the FBI and the CIA better get on these drones and better look at them really carefully with a heightened sense of worry, because it involves something out of New Jersey. New Jersey is at least 4-0 on terrorist things, and let me explain what I mean about that. First, 1993, Lionel, remember, where did all the bombers come from who tried to blow the World Trade Center up? They lived in where? New Jersey.
Saudi Arabia.
From New Jersey. Yes, but they were from New Jersey is where they lived.
Right.
Prior to that, check it out. Prior to 1993, that bombing, they're actually living in New Jersey when it went over to do the bombing. Okay, number two, the hijackers. They lived in Las Vegas, some of them. They lived in San Diego, some of them. They all trained out of Florida, but the majority of them, or near majority of them, in the summer of 2001, lived in two counties in New Jersey, Bergen County, and I think it was Essex County. Check that out. So that's a big thing. And most of them, it looks like, did live in New Jersey. That's a hard thing to say, but it's certainly a number of them. That's 3 states out of 50. And on the East Coast, it was New Jersey. Again, now, the third thing, New Jersey. Yeah, I know. Isn't it strange, though? The anthrax killers. Oh, the FBI got it wrong, I believe. They said that it was a white guy. Yeah, right. Okay, a white American. Okay, yeah. When's the last time a white American did something like that? This happened right after September 11th. The anthrax was mailed. This is verified according to all the facts that I see. It's my opinion anyway. In New Jersey, around Princeton, New Jersey, central New Jersey, all of them were mailed out of that area. Okay? 3-0. Now, an extra interesting thing, John Allen Muhammad, the killer who shot everybody. It's some tied in New Jersey, but if you look at the car, the license plate where he was shooting the gun out of, it's a New Jersey license plate. So it's kind of strange.
You are absolutely frightening.
Okay, so I'm just saying that. Now, I could go on, and I don't want to say what I want to say about something that I know that I learned about during the first Gulf War and something to do with mosque in New Jersey, but I'm not going to go that far because I'm not going to step on that line, but it's not something people would like. I'll just say that. And I'm not saying for anybody to ever do anything to mosque or people, because majority of people are good. It's just a few bad apples. But that's all it takes. And unfortunately, good Muslims are hurt by these crazy Muslims who have misinterpreted something and they've gone berserk and they're willing to die for it. So with that said, all my opinion, all for entertainment purposes, for you people who like to go after Lou Dobbs and like to go after Mayor Giuliani and like to attack radio stations and TV stations, you Nimrod left-wingers.
Jerry, I appreciate that. I thank you for your call, sir. Jerry, you do not even have to expatiate or condition anything you are saying. Let me remind you about these drones. These aren't hobby drones with cameras. These are industrial sprayers designed to carry and disperse significant amounts of liquid quickly and with precision. A typical agricultural drone can cover a large area in minutes following GPS guided paths. That's exactly what they're built for in farming. But it also means that in the wrong hands, they're a ready made delivery system of death. Do you know how little a nerve gas substance or some type of biological? It's beyond anything you can imagine. And should you be afraid? Yes. And we should do something about it and not forget and not just go to bed at night and say, everything's going to be okay. Let's go back to the phones, back to what I call fun, to a very strange man, but a loving man in Brooklyn. His name is Jimmy. Jimmy, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Good morning, my friend Lionel.
Hello, Jimmy.
I'll tell you, Lionel, it's good to be alive. I'm out here in the middle of Queens by the Van Wyck Expressway. As a matter of fact, the last time I called you, I was at the same spot. And I'm getting paid like an elephant's trunk, just sitting here waiting to get loaded up. I'm in my
and what are you getting loaded up for?
I own the. I'm in the demolition business, and we're doing some excavation work.
Ooh.
And
by the way, 30 past the hour. 30 past. Tell me, what do you do? I love this. Do you destroy?
Yeah, well, what we do is mainly, I would say 80% of my business is building demolition, complete building demolition, and not by explosive means, by machines, Caterpillar machines mainly.
Yeah.
The other 20% is excavation and removal, debris removal. Demolition.
But you do wrecking balls, and just basically taking big toothed appendages and just ripping buildings apart the old-fashioned way.
Well, wrecking balls. It's funny how most people say that but they're outlawed in New York City because when the wrecking ball. Yeah, when a wrecking ball actually hits a building, debris can fly for over 100 feet. So that's why they only do that in rural areas.
Right.
But in New York City, we do it differently.
You better believe
it. Hydraulic machines.
Okay, very good. Well, let me ask you something. Based upon what you know, based upon your expertise and your sordid yet beautifully important life, what is your take on all that is going on? Tell me, what is on your mind tonight? What piques your suspicions, Jimmy?
Listening to you and your callers tonight, not only is it incredibly interesting, but everybody has their own opinion, obviously.
Sure.
But I'm just going to give you my short take on this.
Okay.
I can see Mr. Trump sitting around the table, maybe with 6 or 8 guys who are in charge or supposed to be in charge of his security, his well-being, so to speak. And I can also see him, let's say the guy on his left who has been in the security field for 45 years, and he brings up an idea and he says, Mr. President, I think we should do A, and after we do A, we have to do B and C. And then I could see Mr. Trump waving him off and all of a sudden turning into Pampero Firpo,
yeah, right. The Scourge of the Pampas.
Yes,
the great professional wrestler with the wild hair and the beard. The Scourge of the Pampas.
Scared the hell out of me when I was 8 years old at ringside.
Remember Wild Bull Curry?
Of course.
Wild Bill Curry has Ben Shapiro eyebrows. Yes. Scary.
Yes, yeah. The scary is an understatement. It really is. When you're 8, 9, or 10 years old, whatever,
Yes.
And
Yes, exactly.
Freddie Blassie with a face full
Classy.
of blood.
That's classy, Freddie Blassie.
Classy, Freddie Blassie. Yes.
Do you remember
most
also?
People know him. I'm sorry. Ron, go ahead.
No, please. It's these phones. Do you remember also when? I know we're going off, but I love to do this. When George the Animal Steele made his debut, and he was a high school teacher, and he came out and he says, I really can't wrestle, but I can. I think he used that methylene blue on his tongue, and he would eat the ring ropes. He was rather hirsute. He was a born again Christian, but he was basically a demented fiend, this huge person. And he would just act demented. He was a wonderful, wonderful worker.
Oh, he was in the top probably 5 of all time in professional wrestling as far as getting over. He had it down pat, and he was a brilliant man when he was off, out of the ring, and when he was being interviewed, he was a brilliant man.
There was another man too, which was another great person. His name was Ed Farhat, but he was probably better known as the Sheik. The Sheik.
That's right.
And the Sheik, by the way, he died
Sheik,
in
not that
the original
Sheik guy.
Right, exactly. And Ed Farhat, he had a pencil. He never said a word. And he would come out. He would just basically take his pencil. Now remember, the referees. And please, I'm sorry. I know I'm going into wrestling. I don't care.
Gouge your forehead,
right.
and
now,
the
you
skin would be dripping from your forehead with that pencil.
Now, let me explain to you something. If you were a reasonably diligent referee, what did you say? Hey, Jimmy, look, you got Farhat. Check him over for the pencil. I don't know where it is, but check for the pencil. And they would come out. I remember when the referee would always check the bottom of your boot. Now, what you had taped there, I have no idea, but they would always run their hand, and they would also sometimes they would say from parts unknown, weight unknown. Now, the parts unknown, especially if they had a mask, a hood, they would call it. I could understand the parts. Wait a minute,
why would the weight be unknown?
Exactly. Why would that give it away? 245, that's Jimmy from Brooklyn. Now, another thing they would do is, remember, I got to say this, please, just a moment of levity. In professional wrestling, the rules in reality have nothing to do with anything. For example, when was the last time at Yankee Stadium where he yells, the umpire yells strike, and the crowd boos, and he turns to them and says, what? And the crowd can change his mind by saying, no. He goes, okay, ball. Yes. Now, another one too. They will take these people. Haystacks Calhoun, of course, 9,000 pounds.
601 pounds.
Yes, and what? Right. And the smell of this man probably would be the worst part about it. But he would come out and they would check him. They would have to rub their hands under his feet and looking for things. But he had a horseshoe around his neck on a chain. Now, the referee,
7 pounds.
Yes, the referee missed that. Or here's a new one. Here's Jimmy from Brooklyn. Now, Jimmy's got his arm in a cast. It's a lead-lined cast. And you can say, wait a minute, what about that? Hold it. He needs it. He hurt his arm. Oh, okay, that's all right. It's a club. I never understood this. I never understood how any of this made any sense. Now, do you remember one thing? Just for 1 minute, please. I know we've got to get away from this just for one moment. When I applied the sleeper to you, which was a carotid restraint, but if I did the sleeper and you were out.
Chief J. Strongbow.
Right, Chief J. Strongbow, whose name is Joe Scarpa, who's a Sicilian. Right. Go figure. As was Iron Eye's Cody, the famous tearing, lacrimating police Indian. Anyway, but if you put somebody in a sleeper and they're unconscious, the rule is you have to wake them up. I can't.
Oh,
the
right.
ref can't.
Right.
You have to. It's courtesy. Now, meanwhile, oxygen is being deprived. Yes, the man is going into full ischemia. The man is going. He's hypoxic. He's turning blue. He's going through 6 stages of stroke.
Right.
He's
But
ischemic.
I don't want to wake him up yet.
Yeah, right, exactly. So anyway, now here's the thing. When I finally relent, like, all right, okay, all right, move over. How do you wake them up? You always did it the same way. You would rub their shoulders.
In the back of the head, right?
Right. No. You would rub their shoulders to kind of make them, ease them into it. And you do like a karate chop or something, like between the blades of their shoulder. And that somehow that hit, or that back, it wasn't the back of the head, but actually the shoulder blades, this all of a sudden would release the bolus or the embolism or whatever it was, and all of a sudden they live free, they're okay. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard or seen in my life. And I would always think, you would think somebody would say, Jimmy would say, I've been a referee for 40 years, and I got to tell you something. I don't think there's much to this waking people up. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do it myself, just because I don't want to see this man die. So, but the referee would never lift a finger. He wouldn't lift a finger. One more thing. What I loved about old professional wrestling, you were in the pre-Vince. You were into the WWF with Vince Senior.
3 W's.
Yeah, you had Don Leo Jonathan, and you had Stan Stasiak and the Heart Punch, and that kind of stuff.
The Heart Punch.
But a couple of things. First, do you remember when it was very politically incorrect? You had midget women,
Guy Low, Fabulous
and Little Beaver.
Little Beaver, Frenchie Lamont.
There you go. Now, the other one was historically incorrect. This was not yours, but in the NWA, we had this group. They had the German, and please, I'm sorry, and audience, indulge me. I've been doing this for 3 hours. This is my time, so get over it. Anyway, they had a group of people, as you know. Germans were always bald-headed. They had black tights, and they used the claw. All they knew how to do was to grab your head and squeeze your head. That's all they knew how to do. All Germans were Nazis.
The claw, right?
It was a claw. Baron von Raschke, others. Well, there was this group in NWA called the Von Brauners. They had as much to do with their Teutonic heritage as I do the Metropolitan Opera. They had nothing to do. Buddy Strickland and some other redneck. But anyway, they were bald-headed. Okay, they were Nazis. They would goose step the whole Heil Hitler. They didn't miss a beat. They didn't care whether you liked it or not. Who was their manager? Wearing a Nazi helmet. Gentleman Saul Weingroff, a Jew. It made no sense. None of it. Now, remember also, you mentioned Pampero Firpo, wild hair, crazed, very similar to the Samoans, crazed, and they would just step on you. They had no wrestling skills whatsoever. They would just step on you. They would hit you, stomp on you, step on you. They were crazed. They were Japanese, very inscrutable, as they would say. They would spray mist. They would have a condom or something in their mouth, which is true, food coloring, and they would spray food coloring on you, which I found out later on working with Bobby Heenan. This stuff would like stain your skin for like ever. Anyway, none of it made any sense. But when you were a kid and you would go and see this live, you would actually say, I think I'm watching a man being killed. I think this is as close to Gladiator. And you looked at like your parents, like, why are you letting me see this? Why are you letting me see this? There is nothing today. I mean it. If you want to, my dad and I, that's what, because we didn't have any teams in Florida. That was our bonding. We had the best time. Did you ever see a woman? She basically had She was braless, weighed about 250. She wore a muumuu or a house dress with a tarragon hanging from her lip, wearing slippers, flipping off, F-bombing, the filthiest. She was drunk, filthiest. I mean, it was like, and you're a kid saying, who are these people? These are adults.
Who are these
this
people?
Man's,
That's right.
Yeah.
Lionel, I remember there was I forget her name. She was a Jewish woman. She must have been around 78, maybe 80, 82, in that area, but she was in good health. And every month at Madison Square Garden, she had first row, not second row ringside, first row seats. And every month she would wait for Tanaka and Fuji, or Tanaka, if he was wrestling single that particular night, to come out and throw the obligatory salt, which was supposed to be for good luck. And she would get up out of her first row seat and run over to the ring, and the few cops that were there would actually allow her to do this. Whether she was part of it or not, I don't know. Mrs. Krieger. Anyway, she would wipe that salt off with her pocketbook and her left hand and whatever she could use, her hair. She would try to get rid of that salt, and Tanaka would throw more salt. So by the time the match started, it's already 25 minutes.
And you're
I'll
thinking,
never forget it. It was
this,
like that was like part of the show.
But is this good
I
luck?
don't think it was. I think it was just that she was a wrestling fanatic.
Yes, I know. There used to be. Last one, and I will stop. There was something that the wrestler said. There was this team, J.C. Dykes and the Infernos. They used flash paper. I think flash paper might have been from the days of the actual betting parlors or something. It was
Flash
this paper.
Yes, I know exactly.
But it
what
was
Didn't the Sheik used to throw fire from his mouth also?
But it was chemically treated. How they activated, I have no idea. So I saw this one time. This guy was walking back, and I guess he had some left, and somebody comes up and gives him just a rash of you know what. I mean, in his face. So he gives this kind of a cockeyed look. Somehow, as this person does not notice his hands, he goes to his pocket or whatever, pulls this out. And as this guy's screaming in the face, underneath his chin, it doesn't really make contact. He activates this flame. And this fellow didn't back off. He just stopped. And he had a frozen look of horror as the bad guy, as the heel, made his way back. He just stood there frozen like, what just happened? Am I on fire?
Right.
Am I dead? I don't even want to look. He's in flames. But it was momentary. Anyway, Jimmy, I thank you. I had to take you. You gave me the chance just as a respite. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Let's go to Johnny in New Jersey. Johnny, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
Yeah, it's Johnny.
That's right. That's why I called you Johnny.
Yeah, I'm listening to this wrestling stuff on the radio, and it doesn't
Nothing
have
gets
anything...
past you, Johnny. Nothing gets
What?
past you, my friend. You
What?
figured that out right away, didn't you?
I figured what out?
It doesn't matter. Go ahead, sir.
No, I wanted to ask Lionel a question about
Well, go ahead.
the Black Lives Matter that was printed in front of Trump Tower, and I was wondering if it was still there.
On the street, I believe it is missing, or not missing. It was not missing. It was painted over or gone or removed.
Yeah, and I also wanted to talk about William F. Buckley, who I
What a
used to watch.
fascinating subject. What a great segue from the Black Lives Matter now to William F. Buckley. Go ahead, sir. And by the way, Johnny, could you please stop the effervescence and this hyperactivity? Just kind of tone it down a little bit. It's too early for this. Yes, for this Rip Taylor-like delivery. Just Bring it down a notch or two. Go ahead, sir. What about William F. Buckley?
Well, when I was younger, I didn't really understand a lot about what was going
That doesn't
on.
surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. And that probably still is happening today.
Excuse me?
Go ahead. I excuse you. Go ahead, sir.
I didn't hear what you said.
It doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Oh,
so, William F. Buckley.
No, and I found him very interesting, even though I didn't understand exactly what he was talking about, but he seemed to make a lot of sense.
What did you find interesting, and what made sense if you didn't understand him?
Well, he would respond to the people that he was interviewing, and he would listen to them, and then he would respond with what seemed logical. And
even though you didn't understand it.
Well, but even though I didn't understand the politics of the day,
it seemed logical.
Yeah, it seemed to make a lot of sense.
That's like listening to somebody in a foreign language, and you don't know what they're saying.
No, not exactly.
But the
because
tone,
I understood his language. I understood what he was saying.
Well, you understand what he was saying. You just didn't know what he meant. That's very interesting,
No,
Johnny.
I knew what he meant, but I wasn't really aware of the politics of the day.
But the question is, do I know what you mean? Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that. Let me tell you something, my friend. If ever I could, and Bill and Yuri, I want you to think about this. People often say, what is the perfect caller? That's it right there. That is it. little Johnny Fontaine. You could act like a man. By the way, did you know in The Godfather, that scene, Al Martino did not know that Marlon Brando was about to slap him. Did not know that. In the Luca Brasi scene, by the way, that was Lenny Montana, the Zebra Kid, who was a wrestler, and he also had apparently some underworld activities that he might have been involved in. That scene of Don Corleone, he was rehearsing his lines. That was never intended to be like that. And he was all mic'd up for the scene, and somebody said, hey, film him. And Lenny Montana was there just talking or rehearsing the lines for the scene, not as Luca Brasi. So that, by virtue of serendipity or what have you, became a part of the film. And I know what you're thinking. You wish you could think of a word to explain how fascinated you are by what I just said. And I don't blame you. 800-848-9222. This is Lionel with you on Another Side of Midnight.
All night long, this is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. This is Another Side of Midnight with Lionel. Now, to the Bernard McGurk Studios, here's Lionel.
By the way, there's a wonderful broadcast. It's called WION, World is One. And this is an Indian news. It is fantastic. Then there's another one. Her name is Palki Sharma. And Palki Sharma is Indian, of course, and she does, I think it's First News, First Post? Anyway, there's this wonderful group of people, how do I say this, who are Indian. And it's called First Post. It is a phenomenal news story. Phenomenal. Also, there was some wonderful stuff, and I'm going to tell her right now. Alex Jones still has some of the best news coverage you will ever see. And I know you're not supposed to say that, and I know it's one of those things that people take offense. By the way, the code, one more time, my friends, it's not something you're supposed to say, but some of its stuff is excellent. Listen to what I'm telling you. I know you're not going to want to hear this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. If you want to hear what's happening, let's say, in China, go to the news in China. Go to the news in the country. I know this sounds crazy, that you want to know what's happening. If you want to know what's going on in Turkey or go there, see what they are saying. Now, remember, don't necessarily believe it. Always ask yourself, what is it that they're trying to tell me? Because that's half the battle. Remember, I don't want to understand necessarily the truth, because you're not going to tell me the truth. I just want to know what it is that you're saying. Because, for example, remember this week, SPLC. A lot of liberal types don't understand what the Southern Poverty Law Center has to do with anything. They don't understand a lot of times how these organizations that sound good have nothing to do with preventing discrimination and the like. Gary in Connecticut. Gary, you're on Another Side of Midnight with Lionel.
That's Professor Teru Tanaka. Lionel,
yes, thank you. Thank you, sir.
I'm listening to your show, and I mean, it's spellbound to me. It really is.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
And Teru Tanaka would also have Salty would throw it into the opponent's eyeballs. I think that was cheating. But anyway, I think the most fascinating thing was the Sergeant Slaughter episode with the Sheik and then with the Hulkster. That really was
do you know, though, Gary, just for a second, can you imagine if right now there was, let's say, a wrestler from Israel and a wrestler from Iran fighting, and you would say, oh, no, that's not appropriate. Well, keep in mind, this was Iranian, the Iron Sheik, and by the way, he was one of the one of the Shah of Iran's bodyguards, which is true. It's just absolutely true. So he was a real Iranian fighting Sergeant Slaughter during the hostage, this time. It was so politically incorrect, but it was brilliant. They didn't care. It was wonderful.
That's correct. And Sergeant Slaughter took a lot of heat. He was never in the military, but I think people they were just acting, they were acting. Of
course.
They should have had Arnold. They were acting. L-Train, your show.
Gary, that's the music, and you know what the music means. It means it's over, my friend. Gary, I thank you so much. And I thank all of you great and wonderful people for listening, and to my great staff, Mr. Bill Lee and Yuri as well. Thank you for your incredible work and your incredible assiduous attention to detail. This is Lionel with you. See you next week. Remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.